In today's Adventures with Bill, we're going to be showing you how to get lead out of a car battery. So stay tuned. The first part of this video is going to show you how to safely get lead out of car batteries. And there are lots of other videos on YouTube that go through all the details, so we'll be covering all the basics. But the second part of this video is, should you get lead out of a car battery? Is it safe? Is it cost efficient? We'll be answering those questions for you in today's video. As you can see here, I have a battery that has had a little bit of an accident. It actually caught on fire, so it's obviously no use for a battery anymore. I have two of these, and I thought that I would go ahead and get the lead out of it to make fishing lures. Lots of people are doing this for various reasons, so I thought that I would try it, and you'll see how it went. The first thing we need to talk about when getting lead out of a battery is safety. Batteries are full of acid, and acid is very corrosive. It is damaging, and please don't attempt this unless you're committed to being as safe as possible. You see there that I have some glasses, safety glasses. I have heavy plastic gloves. Actually, longer gloves would be better to protect up your arms. And I'll say this, don't wear any clothes that you don't want ruined, because it's a very real possibility. If the battery acid splashes onto your pants or your shirt, you won't notice it at first, but after you wash your clothes, you're going to have big holes in them. If you splash the battery acid on your shoes, it's going to eat holes in it. If you splash it onto your skin, if you don't immediately treat the acid, it's going to eat holes into your skin. And of course, if you splash it into your eyes, you could lose your eyesight. So this is not a project that you want to do lightly. Along with the protective gear that I had there, I also wore this almost a full-length poncho just to keep any splashes off of me. And it's a good thing that I did, because that battery acid is going to splash just because of the way you have to take the battery apart to get the lead out. What you'll want to have also is a big bag of baking soda, pure baking soda. That will neutralize the acid, and you'll be using it in the process. But you're going to need quite a bit of baking soda. Here you can see the second battery that I'm going to take apart. These are two 6-volt golf cart batteries, much larger, much heavier than a car battery, and they have more lead in them. Here you can see in the green bucket I have begun emptying out the acid to drain the acid out of the batteries, so that there is almost no acid in it when we begin cutting it apart. Here I have mixed up in the blue bucket some couple gallons of water and that whole 3.5 pounds of baking soda that I will use to neutralize the acid. And here I'm mixing it up with a stick, and it does a good job, but you've just got to have a lot of it, more than you think that you will need. To take the battery apart, I've seen lots of different tools used. I chose to use this large Sawzall reciprocating electric saw, and it did a good job. It cuts very fast. And here you can see I'm just cutting the very top of the battery off. You'll cut through the plastic first, but then you will go through some lead connectors to get the battery open. Here you can see I've got the top off. The top of the battery is on the left side, and you can see inside the battery at that point. And here is the inside of the battery from the top view. And to be honest with you, you see those there's like 4 of them there, the big connecting bars. Those are pretty much solid lead. And below those, all of the rows are sheets of plastic, and inside the plastic is a little bit more lead, and we'll talk about that later. So I began pulling all of those out and putting them into my mixture to neutralize the acid. This is all of the large parts of lead that I got out of the battery, including the post where you would connect it to your car wiring. And if I ever did this again, this is all that I would take out and melt down. I would not bother with all of those plates. Here you can see there are a bunch of the plates I have in the bucket getting ready to neutralize them. And honestly, the little amount of lead that I got out of those plates is not worth the time and the trouble. including the cost of the fuel, the propane or the MAP gas that you use to melt it down, you're not going to get enough lead out of those little plates to justify the time and the expense. Here is how I'm getting ready to melt down the lead. I've got a pan that I picked up from Goodwill for $1, because once you melt lead in something like that, you're not going to want to use it to cook your food. You could get lead poisoning. Also, I'll mention this, I'm doing this outside, and if you're ever melting lead, that's where you need to be outside with lots of ventilation. The fumes from lead are toxic, they are poisonous, and they damage your brain. If you breathe in too many of the lead fumes, you can have some pretty significant memory loss. So please do this outside, even with a fan on, good ventilation. Get those fumes away from you, again, because this is dangerous. When the lead is melted down, I'm going to pour it into the muffin pan, again, which will never be used to cook muffins because it's contaminated with lead now. But that's to make my individual ingots of lead to use them later. Here I've got the pieces of lead, a few of the pieces in that pot, and I'm applying the heat to it through the torch. You can see the lead there is beginning to melt. Quite a long process, and as I melted all of the lead pieces, usable lead from the battery, here you can see I started pouring them into the muffin tray, different ingots, solid lead ingots. There's some slag, some waste byproduct on some of them. You can clean that off later. Here you can see the finished product, those several ingots of lead that I'll be using to make fishing lures. Here I decided to weigh those ingots to see exactly how much usable lead did I get out of those two very large batteries. And here you can see I got 7 pounds and 9 ounces of lead. 7.5 pounds of lead, which is pretty good, out of the battery. So there you have it, the relatively simple process of getting lead out of a car battery. Is it worth it? Would I do it again? Hey, I love to do projects like this, but no, I would not do it again for many reasons. The first off is it's not really cost effective. If I had taken those two batteries to a recycling center, I would have gotten from $12 to $14 each for them, cash. So that would be like $28. I looked on eBay to get a price for buying lead, good, clean lead ingots that I could use for making fishing lures, just like I use this lead for. And the average price for the lead is about $2.75 a pound. You can get it some cheaper, some more expensive. If I had just simply bought the lead off of eBay, the 7.5 pounds, it would have cost me $20.63. So if I had taken the batteries to be recycled and got $26 for the batteries, I would have been able to buy the lead and have $6 left over, or buy more lead. But it wasn't all profit for me getting 7.5 pounds of lead, because I had to pay for the baking soda. That cost a few dollars. Also, when we did the laundry, I had splashed lead onto my jeans. There were holes in them. Those jeans are trash. So if I have to go out and buy a new pair of jeans to replace them, another $20. I really enjoyed the experiment of getting the lead out of the battery and melting it down for myself, making these nice lead ingots. I've already used some of the ingots to make some fishing lures, and I plan to make several more. But do I advise anyone to try to get lead out of the battery for themselves? No, I don't. And I won't do it either, because again, it's not cost effective, and there really is a lot of risk. You're working with dangerous acid. And there's also the point I didn't bring out. You've got to dispose of the acid. You've got to neutralize it, and you've got to dispose of it in a safe way without harming the environment. So the project was a lot of fun, but I don't advise you to try it. And from now on, I'll be taking my batteries to the recycling center, getting cold hard cash, and buying lead off of eBay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I enjoyed the process of making it. If you haven't already, I would ask you to please subscribe to Adventures with Bill, and you'll be notified anytime we have a new adventure coming up on YouTube. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Have a great day.